Hello, everybody. My name is Louise Young, and a very warm welcome to my YouTube channel, where I talk a little bit about my very long and severe journey with ME and what it taught me, and also some spiritual teachings and some beautiful meditations. So a warm welcome, everyone. And before I begin, I just wanted to say that I'm going to try and keep this channel free of ads. So I would really appreciate it if you like my content, if you could perhaps like, subscribe, share, and maybe even buy me a cup of coffee. That would just really help to keep up the algorithm so my channel can be seen by others who may benefit and enjoy what I bring through. So thank you so much. So I have just returned from a wonderful summer solstice trip to Avalon, which is Glastonbury in the southwest of England. Today is the 23rd of June. It has been extremely hot in the south of England, and the energy has been very, very intense. So probably like many of you who are watching this, I am a sensitive being. I am an empath. And when the energy in our world builds up, I really, really feel it and can become quite, feeling overwhelmed and perhaps a bit tearful. So actually, as we go along, I will be talking about practices that we can do to help ourselves with that. But today, I just want to be talking about, firstly, my incredible and profound experience that I had with an out-of-body experience back in 2005. So we will get to that also. Also, I want to be starting talking about how overwhelm and feeling unsafe in our bodies can cause a profound sense of fear. So this is something which I have really felt on my journey, particularly when I was very, very debilitated with the ME, that I would feel very, very scared of being in my body, scared of my body. And I'm sure many of you can really understand this and feel the same way as well. And this can come from all sorts of things, as well as physical disease and emotional, feeling emotionally unsettled. And I actually work with a team of wonderful healers in spirit, one of which always tells me that when we feel fear in our bodies, that this can actually build up in our energy field around us, because as we know, we are a human body, a solid, slower vibrating human body, and around us we have our light body, which is a mirror image of our solid human body, and around us we have our soul space, our soul field, which is basically a memory data bank of everything that we go through in this life and everything our soul has been through as it's journeyed through many of our other lives. So building up perhaps energy, trauma, experiences, gifts, wisdom are all held in our soul field. So my guide is always talking about the importance of trying to work with releasing the fear. So this can be done through visualizations, through breath work, through yoga, through being in nature, and of course seeing a healer as well. So my guide talks to me about this fear that can be held in our field, and also how that can inhibit the flow of energy within our body. So a little bit more about what happened on my journey. Because I was so profoundly unwell and debilitated and really feeling very, very scared of my body and very, very vulnerable, I had a lot of fear in my body, and fear can be held in our kidneys and in our adrenals, which are two little glands sitting on top of each of our kidneys, which respond to that fear and fight or flight system, the sympathetic nervous system in our bodies. So this is tend to be where I feel fear in my clients' bodies, but also where I felt a lot of fear in myself. So for many years, the fear was building and building up into my kidneys and into my adrenals. I had a lot of anxiety as well, as you can imagine, when I was first unwell. And what eventually happened is my kidneys could not detoxify properly. So I ended up with kidney stones, which was actually a repeated pattern of getting these kidney stones and keep having to have them treated with something that was called lithotripsy, which is sound wave treatment. So the first time I had this done was at the beginning of 2005. And by that stage, I got a little better in my health, and I was beginning to have a bit more of a life again and being a little bit more independent and enjoying life. But I was far from being well at all. So I started to get these pains, terrible pains in my kidneys. And that was diagnosed with kidney stones. So I had this treatment, and unfortunately, because I was still unwell and still sensitive, the medication from this treatment and the trauma to my body just gave me a huge relapse with the ME. And I was back in bed again, feeling extremely unwell, and I wasn't sleeping, and I was enormously fearful about what had happened to me. I was angry, as you can imagine, as well. I was just so sad, and once again I was debilitated. So one day, so this was as I said, the beginning of 2005. So one day I was in bed, and I can't really remember what I was doing. I was awake. I was I think I was just laying there, just resting, really. That's all I could do at the time. And the next thing I knew, I was just an orb of light floating around the ceiling of my room. I was just my consciousness. I was not even in my light body. I can only describe it as being an orb of consciousness and just being in my soul. And I just remember thinking that I still felt that I was me. I was still me, but I was just me as a free being, as a light being. And I was just floating around the ceiling of my bedroom. And I remember going over to my windowsill where I had some ornaments. I remember thinking, oh, these are pretty. I can come over and have a close look at them. And I was looking out my window and admiring the view. And I just felt just an enormous sense of profound peace. Profound peace. There was no fear. There was no pain in my body anymore. I was just free. I was just peaceful. And I remember thinking that I felt that I was kind of like a silvery colour, that I wasn't like a totally round shape. I was just a slightly sort of egg shape, like a slightly sort of orb shape, and that I was silver. And I just remember thinking that I'm still me, that I haven't kind of lost any parts of me, but I wasn't my body. I wasn't my body. And that lasted, I don't know how long. I mean, it felt like just a couple of minutes. And then the next thing I knew, I was back in my body again. And I was back in bed once more, feeling everything that I was feeling before. And I truly believe that this experience was a gift. It was an absolute gift to me, to give me that sense of knowing that we are so much more than our bodies, that we are actually our souls. We are eternal souls of light, of consciousness. We are fragments of the whole where we all came from and we were all returned to. So I just wanted to share that with anyone that was perhaps going through really, really difficult times. I know we've probably heard many experiences where people are talking about perhaps astral traveling in their dreams, or they're talking about sort of consciously astral traveling, where perhaps they are still feeling like they're in their light body, perhaps they're walking through doors, walking through walls. But this wasn't like that. I was definitely in the space of my soul. I was in my soul field. And again, this has been a massive gift for me, actually, myself now, as I work as a healer, because I work with connecting with that soul space for people and feeling the energy within that area, where, you know, and how that feels for that particular person, and whether that may be energy I'm feeling within this life, within past lives. So yeah, that was a beautiful, beautiful experience for everybody. So thank you for listening to that. And I'll be explaining a little bit more about my journey and what happened after this time. So thank you so much for listening. And once again, I would so appreciate any likes, shares, subscribing, buying cups of coffee, kind comments are all very, very much appreciated. Thank you, everybody, and have a beautiful day. Look after yourselves, keep cool, drink lots of water, and I will speak to you soon. Lots of love.